Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited that you guys are here, and I'm very appreciative that you've decided to watch another video. So today's question we have, if 2x squared minus 9x minus 5 equals 0 and x is greater than 0, what is the value of x? Well, what is the value of x? The first thing you have to know is that we're given a quadratic equation, 2x squared minus 9x minus 5 equals 0, and we're told that x has to be greater than 0. And if you know from studying math and algebra, you know that whenever you have a quadratic equation, they tend to be two roots or two values of the variable. So quadratic equation tend to have two roots, or roots actually, and hence two different values tend to have, two roots. And in this particular case, since the variable is x, we're gonna have two values of x. So, but in our question, we're told that x is greater than 0, and they want us to find the value of x. That means whatever our answer has to be for the value of x has to be a positive number, and it definitely, since it's greater than 0, that means the answer that we're supposed to pick for x must not be negative, neither must the answer be 0. So when we find and solve for this, if for whatever reason we have one of the values of x to be a negative number or to be the value of 0, we're not going to pick that to be our value of x, because we want it to be specifically that our value is greater than 0. So let's go on to solving. We can there are different ways of solving quadratic equations, from factorization to using the quadratic formula to graphing, as well as the last one, I believe, is completing the square method. I'm going to use the one that is easiest for me, which is simply to use the quadratic formula. So we can use the quadratic formula. You need to know what the quadratic formula is at this point, which is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, right? Where a equals to 2, b equals to negative 9, and c equals to negative 5. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that would be x equals negative 9 plus or minus the square root. B squared here would be negative 9 all squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5. All of that divided by 2a, so 2 times 2. So x equals negative 9 is the same thing as positive 9. So we're going to have that. I'm continuing the work at the bottom left corner of the screen. Plus or minus, you have 9 squared, negative 9 squared. Negative 9 squared is the same thing as 81. 81. I was waiting for you guys to respond. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40. So you have that plus 40 divided by 2 times 2 is 4. So what you end up with is x equals 9 plus or minus 81 plus 40 is the same thing as 121, right? Divided by 4. So we're going to take this value of x into the next page, and we have that x equals 9 plus or minus the square root 121 over 4. The square root of 121 is actually going to be, or is 11. So we're going to put that back in and substitute. Let me switch out the colors. X equals 9 plus or minus 11 divided by 4. Now, since we have this plus or minus sign and we have reached the point of this solution where x equals simplified values of the quadratic equation, simplified values of the quadratic formula, we can just split it now. So we have x1, right, and we have x2, and we can see x1 is going to be, let's x1 be the one that we're going to use the positive. So 9 plus 11 divided by 4, and x2 equals 9 minus 11 divided by 4. So x1 is 9 plus 11, that's 20 divided by 4. So 20 divided by 4, we know that to be 5. So x1 equals 5, right? And then x2 is 9 minus 11 is negative 2 divided by 4. Cancel. So x2 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. So yeah, negative 1/2, and x1 is equals to 5. And so now remember what the question is. X has to be greater than 0, and negative 1/2 is less than 0 because it's a negative number, and any value that is positive has to be greater than 0. So we have the other value of x to be 5. Hence, our answer has to be 5. And then we go back to our question and we see that it's not A, it's not B, it's not C, but it is D. So our answer is D. X is equals to 5 because x is greater than 0. I hope this eases your interest in your understanding of quadratic questions. I would advise that you follow me in this series of making SAT style questions so that you can get used to solving problems, and the more problems you solve, the easier it will be for you to be able to excel in your exam, your SAT exam. I wish you guys all the very best, and if you have any suggestions, put that in the comment section. And if you want to see other outside resources outside of YouTube that could be very helpful, I'm also a personal tutor and I want to be able to help you guys if you guys have time. And make sure you check the description below for the information on that before I have my classes filled. I wish you guys all the very best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.